It's Egypt's 20th time in the finals. They have a wonderful record, and it's this team that will be hoping to lift the trophy a little later this evening. Just one change for Egypt, and you probably heard in the news it concerns Mido, the superstar striker, whose volatile reaction when substituted has earned him a 6-month suspension following that incident in the semi-final. His place goes to Zaki, who scored with his first touch after replacing the Tottenham centre-forward. Mourad Dami, the referee today from Tunisia. He works as a trader. He speaks Arabic and French, which should be very useful for him today. He's refereed both these sides in the Nations Cup finals before. On both occasions, Egypt and Ivory Coast respectively losing to Cameroon. The Ivory Coast team for you then. Well, Henri Michel really does like this squad rotation system. He goes back to the team that beat Cameroon in that epic quarter-final, which ended in a 12-11 penalty shootout win for the Elephants. So that means 4 changes to the side that beat Nigeria in the semi. Aruna Kone joining Didier Drogba in attack. Akale and Faye restored to midfield, and Blaise Kouassi coming back in defence. Egypt in red and white. Ivory Coast surprisingly allowed to play in their first choice of all orange. It's remarkably similar coloured kits for a final of this magnitude, but anyway, that's the decision taken, and we are now ready for the African Nations Cup final of this 25th edition. Wonderful atmosphere. Will it lift the home side? They've often come out of the blocks really quickly, Egypt, spurred by this huge support. Will it lift them sufficiently today? Drogba just holding on to the ball and just trying to launch an attack down the right, but it's easily tied it up. Ball goes out of play. Hassan Shahata then. You had to feel for him, Matt, in that semi-final. The action was going on down below us, and he was being pilloried for substituting Mido. And it must have been a sweet moment for a coach, taking anything else out of it, when the man that he'd chosen, Zaki, showed the faith that the coach had been hoping for with that wonderful headed goal to give Egypt the lead and eventual victory.
Yeah, I was going to say I felt for him for all of 2 minutes, and then Zaki headed in what turned out to be the winning goal, and what satisfaction that must have been for Hassan Shahata, and the Egyptian Federation coming down very heavily on Mido, who incidentally has stayed with the team, even trained with them last night, and he was in the dressing room with his Egyptian teammates before kick-off here, just to offer his encouragement.
A little controversy already, and this game tempers already boiling over. Didier Drogba involved in the thick of it there. It's an Egyptian man, Barakat in fact, who's gone down holding his mouth. This was always going to be no arena for the faint-hearted. The Ivory Coast Cameroon game was furious to the extreme. And let's just, well, we might get another look there. Well, certainly nowhere near his mouth, was it? Nowhere near his mouth. But off the ball incident, Kanga Akale, first recipient of a yellow card, and that's really setting the standard for the game, Matt.
Yeah, absolutely. The referee just showing his authority out there, but it's interesting. That's one of the most intriguing confrontations, that Kanga Akale against Barakat. Barakat's such a key man for Egypt going forward, and if Akale can get in the game and really make Barakat do more defending than he does attacking, then that will be a real bonus for the Ivory Coast.
Conceded only 3 goals, the Egyptian keeper, and a solid player for them in this march to the final. Trekker there, linking in bad Egyptian midfield. He's the playmaker. Someone trying to provide the service for the front men. Well cleared there by Boca. Then forward again, Mohamed Hassan. The flag stays down, and Zaki with a wonderful chance. What an opening there for Egypt, and he dragged it wide, Matt.
Yeah, the Ivory Coast getting it wrong there with their offside trap, and a really good opportunity. And Egypt, well, they're not going to get too many, I don't think. I'm not surprised to see them starting at a really fast pace. The Ivory Coast were always likely to try and soak up pressure in the early stages.
Whistles all around us. That signals a good passing move from the Elephants, but Egypt didn't take too long to get the ball back. It's Mohamed Barakat. Treka quickly closed down, but Egypt flowing beautifully. Barakat with that ball inside. Zaki couldn't get on the end of it. And that trademark quick passing Egyptian move, Matt.
Yeah, it was the movement that almost did for the Ivory Coast. That lovely interplay between Barakat and Abu Treka, two of the stars of the tournament out here. In the end, it was Emad Motab who just couldn't latch on to the final flick.
Ahmed Hassan, then Egypt's top scorer, took a blow there from Kouassi. And Egypt have a free kick in a very useful position. They've been adept at winning good free kick positions, and also there's a couple of key penalties, of course. Kouassi there furious, but I didn't see much wrong with the referee's decision. And good chance for Egypt now. It's close enough to have a pot at goal with just over 11 minutes played here.
Yeah, I don't think Kouassi can argue an awful lot about that. He went leading with his shoulder.
Abdul Wahab, perhaps, the left foot. The left back leaves it though, and the shot eventually just goes behind the corner claim. It was El Saka, the central defender, surprised us. Stepped up, ball bobbling just behind from the man who plays his football in Turkey with Konya Sport. And a major blow for Egypt, Matt, early in this final to lose such an influential player as Wael Goma.
Yeah, Goma has been one of the outstanding defenders in this tournament, and that is a real blow, as you say. Ahmed Fatih coming on, man who played in the first half against Morocco in the goalless draw, missed a wonderful opportunity, then got taken off at half-time, so it's not been a particularly satisfying tournament for him so far.
Yeah, that's strike one, Ivory Coast. Yeah, I agree. Fatih not at all impressive, and it's a really unexpected chance for him to come into this final relatively early in the game. Faye, good running on that right-hand side. Really speedy work from the Nantes man as Goma looks on in total dejection. Shorky with a crunching challenge. Does the defensive midfield work for Egypt?
Yeah, I was just wondering if that substitution is going to make Egypt change their formation a bit, because Ahmed Fatih does play often in midfield. At the moment, he has slotted in with those two other centre-halves.
Corner flighted in. Yaya Toure couldn't quite get on the end of it. Second possibility, perhaps. El Saka there for the Pharaohs. To break now. Barakat the target. Runa Kone didn't quite make it safe for the Ivory Coast. Treka spots the space on that far side with Abdel Wahab, always a willing receiver on that flank. Disappointing that time from the Al Ali man. Well, the Ivory Coast have at least survived the first quarter of this game without conceding. First priority for Henri Michel. Hugely experienced coach, led France to the World Cup semi-finals back in 1986. This is the 6th national team that he's coached, a remarkable record. Also World Cup finals experience with Cameroon and also with Morocco. On ball forward by Ibrahim Sahi. Well taken by Motem. It's a difficult ball to control. Might open up here for Egypt, but the speculative shot from Abu Treka was a little too ambitious. Although Hassan Shahata applauding perhaps the speed of that break.
Yeah, Egypt have got to try and do everything at pace. That's what Abu Treka was doing very well in the first 10 minutes. He played a couple of early passes in for Moteb or for Zaki. But the Ivory Coast won't be too worried about Egypt shooting from that kind of range. And just in the last sort of 10 or 15 minutes, Toure and Kouassi have been dealing fairly comfortably with the two Egyptian strikers.
Ahmed Hassan with Drogba breathing down his neck. Egyptian skipper still manages to find a good delivery and a really quick pass from Abu Treka, but the flag is up. And well, Wahab denied further progress down that left-hand side. Yeah, just looking at a few of those Egyptian records, really remarkable. The most matches played in the finals, they're 78th today. The most goals scored, 124 after those two against Senegal. It's a tournament that is so important to them, and of course they will get that 5th and record-breaking win if they can emerge victorious in this final today. Akale, supported by Boka on this left side, the Strasbourg left back. There's a second opportunity to get the ball in. Barakat doing some excellent defensive work. The BBC African Player of the Year, of course. Yaya Toure. It's a good idea, didn't quite work out in looking for Akale.
He is doing an awful lot of good defensive work, Barakat, but that's not really where Egypt want to see him. He's spending a lot of time near that corner flag on this near side. And Barakat is such a dangerous man when he gets in forward positions, runs at defenders, and I just wonder whether employing him as a right wing back today up against Boka and Akale is going to be the best option for Egypt.
I've had similar thoughts myself about Barakat. Yeah, you want to see him in the attacking sphere. It's also apparent in earlier games as well. You don't want your best players to be putting in the hard yards in defence. Barakat all too often in that position. As Egypt come forward here. Zaki away to the cross in the middle, which never came. Saka helps it forward once more. The crowd rises to their feet. Three in the middle. Tizier was there, though, ahead of the jump of Treka. Well claimed by the Ivory Coast goalkeeper. Once more, the cacophony of noise grows all around us. These fans expect only one winner here, and they're doing their utmost to ensure that it's the Egyptian side that get their hands on the trophy a little later this evening. Abu Treka forward, finds Hassan. Barakat the target, but wasn't the best ball to him. To Boka, using his body. Officials happy with the challenge from the Elephants left back. Hassan, the top scorer for Egypt in this tournament, plays his football with Besiktas in Turkey. Key player for them. Scored the opener for Egypt in the '98 final as well. Their last triumph, and involved in a furious battle there in the centre circle. Ahmed Hassan. Boka frustrated. It's another very keenly contested game for Egypt. The tournament getting tougher and tougher for them. Some comfortable wins earlier against Libya against the weakened Ivory Coast team. The DR Congo as well was a bit of a cruise, but it's been really tough against Senegal, and it's looking like another keenly fought game here today. As Abdel Wahab has to get that cross in. That was a better run down the left-hand side. And it was Ahmed Hassan who was at the far post. Truck his ball in. Tissier flapped it in a bit. Needed help from the defender. Shorky's shot. Oh, it's gone behind. A flashing effort from Amre Zaki. And pandemonium in the Ivory Coast defence, Matt, but somehow they survived.
Yeah, really good play here from Egypt. Most of their pressure is coming up that left side. Abdel Wahab providing some really, really good crosses. And Emmanuel Eboué, the right back for the Ivory Coast, is having real difficulty keeping him quiet. And some terrific acrobatics at the end from Zaki. That really would have set this stadium alight had that gone in.
It's a great effort from the man who plays his football here in Cairo, not with one of the big clubs, Al Ahly or Zamalek, but ENPPI, the club involved with the petroleum industry here in the Egyptian capital. And he's, if you like, a late bloomer in this competition. Struggled to make an impact in the earlier games. But first choice for this final, having managed to score the goal that took Egypt through against Senegal in the semi. This is Moteb, his strike partner. Ahmed Hassan, busy as ever in midfield. Ahmed Barakat, man who helped to win that penalty for Egypt against Senegal. Bizarre handball from Frederic Mondi. It's Barakat, the player closest to the Saint-Étienne man. Shulki, Egypt starting to assert themselves in this game now. Ivory Coast struggling to keep them at bay. Ahmed Hassan. Barakat now. Captain goes for the return ball. Took two Ivory Coast men to stop him, but stop him they did. Hassan still grounded as Drogba looks to launch a speedy break. Aruna Kone, Didier Drogba now bearing down on goal. And an outstanding challenge from El Saka. It's an ominous sight, Matt, when you witness Didier Drogba launching himself at a goalkeeper, and that took some wonderful defending there from the Egyptian centre-back. I'll just hold a second as Zaki comes forward. But yeah, great defending there. Yeah,
it was a real missed opportunity, though, for the Ivory Coast. Aruna Kone did so well to slip that pass through for Drogba. Drogba had Akeli totally free to his left, but the Chelsea striker's first touch let him down. All credit to El Saka for anticipating it and getting a good tackle in, but Drogba just taking his eye off the ball at the wrong moment there.
Chelsea doing very nicely without him. And then Crespo banging in the goals. Drogba's absence, 5 in the last 10, I think, for Chelsea, the Argentinian. No way through there for Dreka, tied it up by Boca. Nice ball down the left touchline, kept it in play for Akale. Finds Drogba. It's a purposeful turn, but once more some fine defending. Shorky, the man in there, supporting Al Saka. And Treka looking to release Ahmed Hassan. Ahmed Hassan going into the box. And a good run, but the cross not quite accurate enough to set up a scoring opportunity.
Yeah, he's only a small man, Ahmed Hassan, but he's got great upper body strength, and he just shook off that tackle from Zokora. Fantastic play. Shame for Egypt, he couldn't pick out a man in the middle.
Yeah, it was Moteb the target, but he was unable to find the 3-goal striker for Egypt in these finals. As it's the Ivory Coast that come forward now. Once more solid defending, but Aruna Kone looking to capitalise with Drogba waiting in the middle, and the game starting to liven up now, Matt, after a fairly quiet opening.
Well, it is, and that's because the Ivory Coast are starting to get men forward to support Drogba and Kone. We saw there Drogba tackled by Osaka when he had Akali outside him. And just a few moments ago, that break involving Faye, Kone, Drogba, Akali also coming up. So instead of attacking in 1s and 2s, they're attacking in 3s and 4s, and that's what's making the difference.
Carleg's corner towards the near post, and what a chance there. It was Kolo Toure at the far post. Must have seen it pretty late, Matt. I know he's not a prolific goal scorer, as the Arsenal man runs in there. Well, it was one of those that you'd expect a striker to score for a defender, just not with that natural instinct. I think he's got something like 3 Premiership goals in 4 seasons at Arsenal. It's a rare one, isn't it, a Kolo Toure goal? But what a chance. It's Baraka. Plays in Zaki. Span well and found a good cross looking for Moteb. It's a really good ball in from Zaki. Hit with venom there. Ahmed Hassan forward. And the ball turned behind by Kolo Toure. Back in more familiar territory, defending for the Ivory Coast in the last minute of normal time in this first half. Can Egypt get the breakthrough they've been looking for? Abdel Wahab with that left foot looks to create something. Solid defensive work. Baraka sets up the next shooting chance, but it's rather tamely behind by Ahmed Hassan.
Yeah, the Ivory Coast have defended stoutly throughout this first half. Jean-Jacques Tizier hasn't really had a save to make. It's a credit to the way Kouassi and Toure have handled the dual threat of Moteb and Zaki. Zaki, just in the last 10 minutes or so, trying to peel off to the wings and put crosses in. He's a very, very hard-working striker. I'm sure Moteb enjoys playing with someone like that.
Yeah, I was hugely impressed with that central defensive duo in the Cameroon quarter-final, keeping Samuel Eto'o and Weibo, and then Nyong'Ze very quiet really over 2 hours, just 1 goal conceded as the Ivory Coast look to spectacularly take the lead. What a save from El Hadary. It was Akale who's been as impressive as anyone, Matt, in the attacking sphere for the Ivory Coast, and it took a full-length save from SM El Hadary to keep the Ivory Coast at bay.
Yeah, well, I said earlier that sometimes Akali is let down by his right foot, but he's got a very, very sweet left foot. We saw it there, and he's away again here on the left side.
Yeah, Barakat again. Not where President Mubarak and all the Egyptian fans will want to see him. He's defending rather than causing a threat at the other end, but doing important work nonetheless. As right wing back for Egypt today. This is Didier Zakora. Into the 2nd minute of stoppage time now at the end of this first half. Ball in from Kolo Toure. Looking for Drogba. Ivory Coast, when they get the ball, they're dogged in possession. They don't give it up lightly. Ball forward by Faye. Akale trying to create something. Egypt closing down in packs around the man from Auxerre in France, and failed there to emulate his earlier effort. Half-time just moments away. El Hadary, the Egyptian hero, with that fine save from Akali, stepping forward to take the free kick. And Tunisian referee signals the end of the first half that's delivered no goals. Matt, a quick resume from you?
Yeah, a slightly disappointing game. We haven't had too many clear chances for either sides, but I think the Ivory Coast will definitely be the happier of the two teams, having kept Egypt largely at bay in the first 45 minutes.
Egypt 0, Ivory Coast 0 then. Join us for the second half of the final. So underway then in this second half. Ivory Coast now playing to the right of the screens, looking for Drogba there with that early ball forward. Didier Drogba just had a sniff in front of goal. That break down the middle, and the flag's gone up there as Didier Drogba looked to put Ivory Coast a goal up in the opening seconds of this second period. The offside flag, though, quickly raised, Matt.
Yeah, for a moment there, I thought it was going to be a repeat of that semi-final when Nigeria seemed to be sleeping at the start of that second half. Romaric hitting a really long pass and Drogba breaking the offside trap. That was a very, very tight call. And Drogba certainly seems to be more alert than the defenders at the beginning of the second halves out here.
Yeah, the classic ball over the top for Drogba. Say has won the semi-final. Drogba a little disappointing with that effort in the first half, but look more purposeful there as Egypt now breaking forward, and the headed chance going wide from Treka. Zaki holds his head and his hands there, and Egypt close to going a goal down through Drogba. The offside flag in their favour, could so easily have taken the lead. Good attack down the right-hand side. And Abu Treka, a couple of goals in this tournament. Put it wide. Zakura. Across to Arta Boka. This is Faye into Didier Drogba. Ahmed Hassan. Superb in those situations. Really does work hard as Egypt come forward again now with Amri Zaki. Looks to the far post. Good defending. Treka almost in there for Egypt. Now Barakat looking to find a man in the box, but it's got to be reworked again. Zaki fires that cross in. It was a better delivery, and Imad Moteb, who's played such a little part in this game, suddenly found himself with an opening. His strike partner created it for him, but off target.
Yeah, Zaki just produces this constant stream of crosses, whether it's from the left side or the right side. Picked out Moteb there. We'd seen a couple of dangerous crosses coming in, and Kouassi doing very, very well to get his head to it. Been quite impressed with the way that Blaise Kouassi has gone about his game today, justifying Henri Michel's decision to pick him ahead of Abdoulaye Meite. But on that occasion, Moteb just finding a bit of space between the two centre-halves.
Drogba's flick on. Come to Drogba again. Kone. Red shirts closing down on him very quickly. Kone's a skillful player, but he wasn't quite clever enough to take advantage of that situation. It was very difficult for him. Kone again. Faye back to Zakura, and Faye, good first touch. Puts in Didier Drogba, back into the middle. And, well, the final now is of a totally different complexion. It's almost, you could say, end-to-end at the moment, with Drogba firing that ball in, and Faye denied Matt with a good last-ditch tackle.
Yeah, really good stuff there from the Elephants. It was Faye making the difference, striding forward from midfield and playing a good ball to Drogba. Drogba may have been better off playing that one across the face of goal.
Kale's corner headed away at the near post by Hassan. Still the danger not clear for Egypt. Hassan popping up literally all over the field. You can't really overstate the work that Ahmed Hassan puts in the red and white of Egypt. It really has been wonderful. And during the half-time break, he was named the player of the tournament. Certainly the first half performance he's put in, Matt, would seem to justify that.
Yeah, just in that first game against Libya, I really thought Ahmed Hassan stood out, and he's taken confidence from that game, scoring as well. Got one in that game against Libya, and also it's been on target 4 times in total. But it's that sort of pass there, sliding the ball through to Abdel Wahab. Now Egypt have got a free kick, but Ahmed Hassan is so influential.
Well, yeah, perfect illustration of the point as the Ivory Coast receive a 3rd yellow card. It's Aboué struggling to track the pass from that man Hassan. And he joins Akale and Kouassi in the book as Abdel Wahab looked to threaten down the left. Boué unhappy with the decision. Did look a bit harsh from the replay, I have to say. But it's a yellow card, and Egypt have a really good free kick position here because they've got players who can float that ball in. Ahmed Hassan this time. Away at the near post. Wahab. And Egypt could be in trouble here. It's a speedy break from Faye. Just let the ball run away from him. Well, for a moment, Matt, that was 3 against 2 in favour of Ivory Coast, and MS Faye a little disappointing there.
Yeah, good play. Ahmed Fatty showing good pace to get back. That's several times we've seen in this second half the Ivory Coast attacking with numbers, and Egypt have just got to be careful not to give possession away so easily in deep positions like that. In the past year or two, the Ivory Coast have been very, very well known for playing fantastic attacking football. And with the injury to Aruna Dindan and the poor form of Bonaventure Kalou, I think Henri Michel's put the emphasis more on making a solid team and just making sure that they build from the back and then let Drogba do the rest. And so far, Drogba's done pretty well. We've seen some good play from Aruna Kone as well. It's not been his night so far, and I just wonder if he's going to be replaced here as the Ivory Coast look to make a change.
It would seem that way. Bonaventure Kalou has not set the tournament alight, but he's has shared that one space with Aruna Kone. He's waiting in the wings now as Egypt, though, look to come forward with Barakat. Hassan away to his right. Hassan fires that ball in. And if one man is doing his utmost to lift this trophy, it's Ahmed Hassan. He really has been inspirational from the first whistle, but fired that ball well wide in the end. Good power. He's looking to just really produce a cross shot that may have gone in off a defender. But Ivory Coast will make that change now, as Matt mentioned, but it's not Aruna Kone who goes off, it's Akale. So Kalou with another chance to impress. Kalou, Matt, another chance to impress in this tournament.
Yeah, well, Bonaventure Kalou is a fantastically gifted footballer. I was so disappointed with the way that he played earlier on in the group stage, and justifiably Henri Michel giving Kalou a break. He played in the semi-final against Nigeria and showed some nice touches. On his day, though, he is just a wonderful player who can change the course of a game with one piece of vision or one jinking run or shot. He's a very, very talented customer.
Well, quickly getting involved there. Kalou finds Kone, who no doubt is relieved to still be on the pitch. Zokora. Now Emmanuel Aboué. Positive run. And decision, though, goes against the young Arsenal defender. And for a player in Aboué, Matt, who's hardly featured in the Premiership for Arsenal, this must have been a fantastic experience for him in this tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. He's played a bit in the League Cup campaign this season and last season for Arsenal. Otherwise, he's only made sub appearances in the Premier League, and he is a player with plenty of ability. He's a good athlete. He's got good pace. He's just got a bit to learn still.
Quick break, looking for Drogba, and the shot flashes behind. But that again, Matt, that point you were making about the the semi-final winner against Nigeria. Takes one decent ball, doesn't it? And the big Chelsea man bearing down on goal.
That's right, Drogba is a big game player. There's no doubt about that. And he's shown it again out here with those 3 goals, particularly that semi-final goal. He just loves playing for the Ivory Coast. Yeah, Barakat was saying this week that he'd be very, very keen on a move to Europe, 29 years of age now. Still got a few good years left in him.
Interesting to see is Zaki brought down on goal. Tizier, the goalkeeper for the Ivory Coast, showing good hands there. Zaki unable to repeat his feats of the semi-final win over Senegal. This is Akale. Beg your pardon, not Akale, Faye. Akale having left the pitch. Now Kalou, again showing good strength and winning the free kick. Positive run. Matt, he's looking to make a late impact on this tournament, Bonaventure Kalou.
Yeah, well, I gave him a pretty big build-up when he came on, but he is such an exciting player. He was fantastic last season at Auxerre. Only just missed out on the French Player of the Year award to another African, Michael Essien. But Kalou moving to PSG in the summer, and he seems to have lost his way, as so often happens in France when players join Paris Saint-Germain or Marseille. It's a lot harder, the pressure is so much higher. Kalou just needs to find his feet again.
Al-Hadari lining up the wall, and no work this time for the Egyptian goalkeeper. Still didn't look that happy with what was around him. The shot from Kolo Touré, rather disappointing one, as the Egyptian fans once more go into frenzy mode to get behind their team and produce that all-important extra ingredient to lift them to success in this tournament. Drogba finding Kalou. The shot getting a couple of deflections along the way, but now Aboué making the run. Would have been an unlikely hero, but supporting well from right fullback. And yeah, there's a point that Matt was making. Look at the reaction from Mohamed Hassan, the misplaced pass by Wahab. Moka's whipped ball in. Failed to find either of the Ivory Coast front two. Yaya Touré. Now Faye. Kone in support. Faye. That might find Aruna Kone. He's in dangerous territory. What a miss! Didier Drogba with the chance of the game. Aruna Kone can't believe it, and the Ivory Coast should have been a goaler. Matt, how did he miss it?
Well, absolutely, it should have been the opening goal. Terrific play. Aboué just keeping that ball in, and then Aruna Kone looked up, he saw Drogba, and Drogba was all alone. My goodness me, if the Ivory Coast don't go on to win this game, Drogba is going to have difficulty sleeping tonight.
Astonishing. Absolutely remarkable miss by Didier Drogba. The one man in the Ivory Coast team you want in that position. Is one thing having Kolo Touré there as a defender, but as your main hit man, that was perfect. Clever work from first Faye and then Aruna Kone. And okay, Barakat had trapped back, but you'd still expect Drogba to score that every single time.
Such a big surprise to see Drogba getting that chance. Here they come again.
The Elephants in full flow. Kalou looking for Aruna Kone. It's gone over him and beyond Drogba as well. They really do break rapidly and so dangerously at times, based on that platform of solid defence. It's a good side that Ivory Michel has created here, make no mistake about it. Boca. It's had a useful game from left-back as well. The cross finding Drogba, and not the connection he wanted, but another opportunity for the Ivory Coast.
Yeah, they're coming in waves at the moment, the Elephants. Boca getting forward from left-back. We've seen Ivory attacking up that right flank, and they're coming at all angles. And the Egyptian fans are just trying to get behind their side here. That's good to see, because the Pharaohs need all the support they can get. It's a difficult period, this.
Wahab just looking to steer that one into a dangerous area. It was a clever idea, but Zaki couldn't get on the end of it. Not seen so much of Abdel Wahab as in previous games in this tournament. But that was clever play. Just failing to produce the first goal of the evening. Mustafa there with his first involvement.
And that substitution from Hassan Shahata, a reflection again of the way this game has just changed in the last 20 minutes or so. We saw Ivory Michel put on a forward for a midfielder, and now Hassan Shahata has taken off one of his two forwards and put on a defensive midfielder in Hassan Mustafa.
Yeah, certainly that. Trekker putting the ball in. Shooting chance, Ahmed Hassan! It's spilled by the goalkeeper, and somehow he survives, but is the ball going to go in? It finally does! But the referee has noticed the flag on the far side. Matt, I don't think it's going to count.
Now the linesman raised his flag very early. As soon as the initial shot was spilled by Tizier, play carried on. The referee didn't blow his whistle, he didn't look over to his linesman, and that's why we've got these frenzied celebrations that are just coming to a halt now.
Well, there's Mido, suspended from this game and for 6 months beyond. He holds his head in his hands. He thought Egypt had made that breakthrough. It was a dramatic goal-mouth scramble. The goalkeeper still down injured, Jean-Jacques Tizier. And yes, Matt, the flag was up on the far side. The referee had acknowledged his assistant. And such is the sheer massive noise around us here, it was difficult to establish quite what had gone on. Trekker's ball in, and then the shot from Ahmed Hassan, the keeper spilt it, and then there was a foul on the goalkeeper. That meant that the close-range finish will not count as a goal.
Yeah, I think the flag went up initially for offside against Mohamed Shorki. He was the man who went in for the first attempt on the goalkeeper and probably did foul Tizier there. Tizier getting a boot maybe from his own player, Kolo Toure. I think the initial flag was for offside.
Well, certainly a controversial moment. It was Amre Zaki with the eventual finish that the Egyptian fans thought would count as a goal. Whether it was offside, whether it was a foul, one thing's for sure, it will not count. And the Ivory Coast, having seen Didier Drogba miss a golden chance, were really close there to going a goal down themselves. Space on this side for Aboué, but goes back to Boca. Very comfortable in possession, the left back, and firing an effort on goal. Again, would have been another memorable moment had it gone in. Having seen the volley from Faye just a couple of minutes earlier. Didier Drogba, that wonderful chance to put the Ivory Coast ahead. Not taken, and now extra time beckons here in Cairo. Abdel Wahab. Nicely done by Fatih. And as That's been the case generally in this game. No way through that Ivory Coast central defence. Both Koulibaly and Kouassi playing out of their skins. Aruna Kone. Fati has stuck to his task well since coming on as sub. 4 minutes of stoppage time will follow. Aboue's ball, far post, and it's another good opportunity for Drogba, not as clear-cut as the one before, but a really good ball in. El Hadary in trouble, and Drogba sees another chance go begging.
Yeah, good delivery again from Aboué. El Hadary had totally lost that cross in the flight, and Drogba, well, it wasn't easy. If he'd have got it on target, though, it was a certain goal, because El Hadary was totally stranded. But Egypt have struggled in the last half an hour, and I think Hassan Shahata will be slightly concerned at the prospect of another 30 minutes. He's reshuffled his team slightly.
Aimed towards Drogba once more, and his header just sails into the arms of the relieved Egyptian goalkeeper. Now Wahab. Walker's header was a sure one. Sakura can only partially clear. Ahmed Hassan now. This is the last minute of stoppage time. Ivory Coast with a player down on that far side. Faye unhappy, disputing there with the Egyptian captain Hassan. Rather unsavoury end to the 90 minutes, Matt.
Yeah, I think the problem there was that Ahmed Hassan knew that Zokora was down injured, but instead of putting the ball out straight away, he had a look up, assessed his options, and eventually, once the Ivory Coast got everyone back, decided to put it into touch. So I think the Ivorians just claiming Ahmed Hassan not being too sporting there, but it's all a bit of a fuss over nothing, really. Let's just hope that Zokora is okay.
He's a big player for the Ivory Coast, so determined with those challenges. And the Saint-Etienne midfielder is now back on his feet, happily for the Ivory Coast. As we just look to play out these final few seconds of the regulation time. We're into the 5th minute of additional time now. And once more, it's looking like one of the knockout games is going to go into extra time, unless Egypt can conjure up something quite special. The answer to that is no, they won't. The referee signals an end to the 90 minutes plus the 4 minutes of stoppage time, and the sides are locked together. Matthew, we thought it was going to be a really tight battle with not much in it either way, and that has really proved a pretty sound prediction.
So, all square after 90 minutes of the final, just like 2 of the previous 3 championship deciders. A 30-minute period of extra time was required then, and with the golden goal rule not applying, if the sides still couldn't be separated, then it would go down to a penalty shootout. OK, let's go back to Cairo and pick up the action in the first period of extra time.
And the extra time first period about to get underway. The crowd, after a little interval, getting back in voice again. And I think the Egyptian fans, Matt, they must, at the end of a game, at the end of a football match here, they must be every bit as exhausted as the players, because their build-up starts 3-4 hours before, doesn't it? And you've really got to be here to believe it. It's difficult to get the message across to people watching back home, but the sheer energy they put into their support of this side is quite remarkable, isn't it?
I just couldn't believe it when I arrived in the stadium at 2 o'clock local time, 4 hours before the kickoff. Not only was the stadium about 90% full, but they were just making an incredible noise already. It was just an astonishing performance. They've kept that noise level going for nigh on 6 hours now. It's an amazing effort.
They are crazy about their football. As Matt was saying earlier, one topic of conversation has revolved around football and mainly around the Egyptian side. They want to know what we think of the Egyptian team, what we think of certain players, and they are determined to go all the way. But Bakary Kone making an instant impact as some Drogba's headed down, and the chance was eventually saved by El Hadari. It was Bonaventure Kalu with the close-range effort. Drogba with the header down, and Ivory Coast almost making a wonderful start to extra time, Matt.
Yeah, Henri Michel's substitution, very, very close to getting an instant reward. It was Bakary Kone on the right wing, delivering a really good cross. Drogba knew that Kalu was coming across the goalkeeper. It was a good header. Kalu not getting enough on it, but it's a really positive substitution again from Henri Michel. They've got 4 out-and-out forwards on the pitch now, the Ivory Coast. Clearly not going to settle for penalties here.
Yeah, they're going for it, make no mistake about that. As Trekker goes into the box. Henri Michel, not a coach to rest on his laurels, is he? He's rotated the squad, and he makes some intelligent substitutions. Really using every ounce of his vast experience in football to try and lift the 2006 trophy for the Ivory Coast, as Fati finds Barakat. Trekker, good turn away from Faye. Abdelwahab, though, unable to control the ball. Frustration mounts again for Shahata. Drogba's headed down then. Kalu didn't need to get much on it, but could direct that chance goalwards. And El Hadari to the rescue.
And it's not a tactic that the Ivory Coast have used enough, in my opinion, playing these long balls, diagonal passes or high crosses in for Drogba. Drogba's won an awful lot of headers in the box on the few occasions that they have hung a ball up there. And I think that is definitely something that the Ivory Coast should look towards, particularly with several attacking players up in there to get near Drogba.
Egypt in no rush to get the ball forward. Ahmed Hassan eventually opts for that long ball, looking for Zaki. And Trekker was waiting. Mohamed Barakat. And the referee has given a penalty kick. Barakat going into the box, looking for his first of the tournament. Henri Michel can't believe it. And Egypt have been awarded a penalty. The Ivory Coast players going mad. Matt, we'll need to have a look at the replay. To me, it looks a curious decision. The Egyptian fans are celebrating nonetheless, but Egypt have a penalty.
Well, we will look at the replay, but in my opinion, let's just have a look at this. It was a 50-50 ball. Kouassi, Barakat's just controlled that a bit too far in front of him. Both players go for the ball. Both players have got their foot up. Kouassi, if anything, gets there first. And an extraordinary decision here.
And that is a very, very poor decision. Barakat winning a fortuitous penalty for Egypt. Not surprisingly, the Ivory Coast players letting their tempers boil over, having fought for over 90 minutes. To concede a penalty in such circumstances must be very, very difficult to bear.
Well, Drogba is absolutely furious. He's still arguing with the Egyptian players, and as you say, you can fully understand it. The African Cup of Nations has come in for a lot of negative publicity for poor refereeing, and that was a debatable decision to say the very least, and it would be a great shame if the final was to be decided on such a decision, which at the moment it looks like it may well be.
It looks as though the Ivory Coast players are just denying Egypt the opportunity to take this penalty. Didier Drogba, the Elephants captain, particularly vocal. And once more, I'm afraid, we're talking about refereeing decisions. First of all, in the semi, it was about a penalty that should have been and wasn't. Now it's about a penalty that should, by rights, never have been given, but has been. And it's Ahmed Hassan, who's been the penalty king for Egypt. Scored 2 in earlier rounds, including the twice taken one in that semi-final against Senegal. It's the experienced midfielder then who has the responsibility. Didier Drogba is confirmed as having received a yellow card. It's all gone horribly wrong at the moment for the Ivory Coast. And it'll be even worse if this penalty finds the back of the net. Hassan then against Tizier. Dramatic start to extra time after a lengthy delay. I think we're about to see the spot kick. Ahmed Hassan, and Tizier saved it! I think he got a finger to it, didn't even come off the post. Absolutely remarkable. And I have to say, Matt, from my viewpoint, and I think from yours, justice has been done.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Sympathy for Ahmed Hassan, who had so long to think about that penalty. I mean, we were talking about the shocking decision, we were talking about the behaviour of the Ivory Coast players. Ahmed Hassan, in all that time, had to think about where he was going to put his spot kick. So much pressure on the Egyptian captain, and, well, has he let the Ivory Coast off the hook? An amazing few minutes here.
Let's look at the penalty again. Well, no, I don't think Tizier even touched it. Off the post, and Egypt denied, but yeah, he's in the thick of a bit of scandal again as Aruna Kone comes into the box and taken by Ivory.
Well, the referee's losing control now. The Ivory Coast seem to have lost respect for him after that decision, and now Egypt furious with the challenge from Aruna Kone on the goalkeeper. He maybe left his foot in there, but I'm not sure there was too much contact. I can confirm also that Emes Faye was shown a yellow card amid that fracas between Ahmed Hassan being awarded and then missing the penalty. So Drogba and Faye, fortunately for the Elephants, they didn't get anybody sent off, because obviously at 0-0 they're still in with a great shout here.
Makari Kone! What a save, Ivory! Well, Matt, this final now is emerging into an absolutely engrossing game. Makari Kone, the Ivory Coast sub, and a wonderful save by the Egyptian keeper.
Yeah, my first thought was, why isn't he crossing for Drogba? Drogba was calling for the ball in the box, but Kone, perhaps seeing the goalkeeper, just anticipating a little bit early, and Kone, that shot would have just crept in the top corner, I think. Great save.
Now Ivory still with a clean sheet, still only conceded 3 in the entire tournament. So tense in the international stadium now. Ivory Coast with a corner, Al Hadari with a positive punch to the huge approval of the vast majority of the crowd here. Saeed getting there ahead of Drogba. Now this is Boca. Faye, they go for goal. It's closed down well by Shawking. Working hard in midfield, as he has done throughout the tournament, Mohamed Shawking. Drogba showing physical presence again. Kalou unable to get on the end of that challenge, and the first period of extra time has expired, and just a chance for everyone, including us, to draw breath for a moment. And under the eyes of the Egyptian head of state, particularly impressive tonight as well. Going for the corner with the penalty. Tizier went the right way, but the ball cannoned off the post. And Ivory Coast, who've been so difficult to score against in this tournament when they fielded their full-strength side, once more have produced a redoubtable defensive display, as well as threatening in the attacking sphere as well. And this final remains on a knife edge in the last 15 minutes of extra time. And it's the sort of time, Matt, when we have to mention the dreaded P word. We've both covered games with penalty shootouts, and in a way you hate to see big tournaments decided on penalties, but you have to say they make for dramatic viewing. I guess we'd just be glad that we're not out there taking the penalties, but still a little way to go yet. But you wouldn't be amazed, would you, at this stage, if it went all the way through?
Well, no, you wouldn't, and it's going to be interesting to see if it does go that far, how the Ivory Coast get on. They scored 12 out of 12 in their victory over Cameroon. A remarkable game, but my goodness me, the pressure is going to be intensified somewhat here.
This is Aboué, unorthodox, but he's travelling forward with the ball. Kalou into Aboué again! Well, he was close to scoring late in normal time, Matt, with a run down that right-hand side, and there he popped up, suddenly emerging once again as a possible unlikely hero, the Arsenal youngster.
There was a huge chance there for Aboué. Set it up with a lovely turn. Egypt just enjoying possession, but giving it away, and here come the Ivory Coast.
It's that man, Bakary Kone again, flying down the right, Drogba in the middle, the cross, though, over his head, and difficult for Aruna Kone in the end. It's been a rarity in this tournament to see Aruna Kone and Bonaventure Kalou on the pitch at the same time. It's Henri Michel has really done his best to adopt a positive approach and really go at Egypt. Kalou losing out there. Mustafa in control in midfield. It's Zakora puts Ivory Coast back on the attack. Kalou trying to work the 1-2 with Bakary Kone. Will he go for goal here? Disappointing effort. Drogba trying to create the shot for himself. Egypt get the ball away. Ivory Coast, to the disgust of the crowd, have a free kick with nerves around us absolutely jangling. Aruna Kone winning the free kick. Drogba signals as to where he wants the ball. It goes over him, though, and the decision goes in favour of Egypt. Foul on. There's a foul on the goalkeeper. There's an Egyptian, or two Egyptian defenders down. Certainly free kick to Egypt as that ball came in from the left side. Yes. Well, once more the noise reaching unbelievable proportions We can hardly hear ourselves think, Matt, on the commentary. I hope viewers back home can hear us loud and clear, but it's a deafening roar now.
Yeah, I think they've just saved a little bit in their voices, thinking there may well be penalties, and I'm sure the decibel levels will be even higher if we get into a shootout.
The third Egyptian sub, Abdel Ali, trying to get that ball in. Yeah, Zamalek man, though, just turning it behind. Egypt, not only with a fine record in the Nations Cup, but also in the African Champions League, the two main clubs in Cairo, Al Ahly and Zamalek, preeminent. Al Ahly, the reigning African champions. Zamalek have actually won 5 to Al Ahly's 4. As we go into the last 3 minutes of extra time, Matt.
I think there's no question that Egypt have run out of steam to a certain extent after the first hour of the game. They're coming on the attack here. They're still posing the occasional threat. The Ivory Coast are the more dangerous of the two teams. However, I think the Ivory Coast will be kicking themselves as well if this does go to a penalty shootout. They've had the clearer chances, notably to Drogba, so a good chance for Eboué. But I've been a little bit disappointed in extra time that they've not managed to carve any more openings against this slightly tiring Egyptian defence. They're playing with these 4 forwards. There isn't really a link between them, and I think Kalou needs to be providing that link, dropping off a little bit more and claiming the ball from his midfielders.
Well, this will be one of the final opportunities of the final before the impending shootout. Barakat getting the corner in. Oh, it was mayhem for a moment. The ball just crying out to be turned over the line. Zaki at the heart of the action again. The Ivory Coast survive. Mustafa. Egypt building again. We are now just over a minute away from the shootout. Egypt desperate to avoid that trauma. Ahmed Hassan finding Barakat, and long-range effort was never going to test the goalkeeper. Fatih getting underneath the ball, and penalties now seem a near certainty, Matt, and looks like here we go again as the referee shows a yellow card for time wasting to Tizier. Well, I've seen goalkeepers take a lot longer than that, but Tizier, the latest recipient of a yellow, as Henri Michel and his staff look on. That must be going through their minds, so near, but yet so far from the trophy. As you mentioned, certainly the clearer moments of the game in front of goal falling to the Ivory Coast. Shorky now playing very deep as a central defender, stroke sweeper. Well versed in that role. He's been a linchpin for Egypt in the defensive sphere of their game. Into stoppage time then. Penalty kicks beckoning. The final is petering out in a midfield battle. Bakary Kone, it's very tough for him in that position. 1 minute of stoppage time is signalled as Abdel Ali wants to get that ball in, and, well, the crowd wanted a back pass. Free kick. The referee had a good long look at it, didn't give it. That was a pretty nervous moment for the Ivory Coast. The referee Again, at the heart of some controversy there, Matt. My heart was in my mouth then for the Ivory Coast. To me, that looks as though the ball was steered back, but free kick not given. Ivory Coast survived, and we have penalties. 7 times Egypt have beaten the Ivory Coast in these finals in 8 meetings. It's an emphatic record behind them, but it's in danger right now as we face the penalties. And Ahmed Hassan, the Egyptian captain, successful twice from the spot during this tournament, but of course notably missing this evening a controversial penalty decision. Kouassi adjudged to have impeded Mohamed Barakat, and Hassan, after a lengthy delay, failed to find the corner of the net. And he's the first man up for Egypt. They say if you fall off a horse, get straight back on one again, and that's the scenario here with Ahmed Hassan. Hassan then finds the back of the net. 1-0 Egypt.
Yeah, well done, Ahmed Hassan, redeeming himself somewhat after that miss in extra time, just showing great composure. There was one criticism of Jean-Jacques Tizier during the shootout against Cameroon. He tended to just move a bit early. Let's see, he does move to his left before Ahmed Hassan takes the kick. In the end, Hassan showing great composure and just drilling the ball home slightly to the left.
So now it's Hassan Al-Hadary facing Didier Drogba, and it's saved by Al-Hadary. The keeper guessing the right way. Decent height for a goalkeeper. But Drogba, who had that famous miss in this game, should have put Ivory Coast 1 up. I'm afraid his night is getting worse, Matt.
Yeah, he struck the penalty pretty well, but it was just a little bit off the ground, a reasonable height. Full credit to Al-Hadary, he went early.
Yeah, I prefer to praise the goalkeeper rather than criticise the taker, as Abdel Wahab makes it 2-1 to Egypt. 2-0 to Egypt, I should say, I beg your pardon. 2-0 to Egypt, so used to all the penalties going in the other evening. So Egypt now in a commanding position, and already in the shootout, Matt, with 2 scored by one team and 1 miss. If Ivory Coast miss this one, then they're in deep, deep trouble.
Yeah, well, that is the advantage of going first. If you can get your first couple of penalties tucked away, really puts the opponents under big, big pressure, and huge pressure now on the Ivory Coast penalty taker, Kolo Touré.
Kolo Touré himself had a chance to score earlier in the game, makes no mistake about the penalty. Absolutely driven home early centrally. The Arsenal man is the first to succeed for the Ivory Coast in this shootout. 2-1 then, the score in favour of Egypt. It's the sub who came on and he's missed. Abdel Halim Ali. Now, that's changed the complexion of this shootout. And given something for the Egyptian dignitaries to think about. Well, I was a little surprised when I saw him come on as a taker, Matt. He's only been involved in the game for a relatively short period of time, and there, well, he's disconsolate, and he blasted that ball wide of the mark, and Ivory Coast have a lifeline.
Bakary Kone has the chance to make it 2-2 here.
Another man who came on as the man from Nice in France, Bakary Kone, scored against Cameroon, but he's seen his penalty saved in. And it's a role reversal from the quarter-final Ivory Coast Cameroon, when all the penalties seem to be going in. This time it's a different story. And Bakari Koenig saw his penalty saved by Ivory. And 2 misses in a row. It remains, Matt, at 2-1 to Egypt.
So Egypt with a chance to extend their lead to 2 goals here.
And if Egypt score their remaining 2, they've won the trophy. Zaki, well, that's one. Amre Zaki, whose goal steered Egypt into the final. They're now 3-1 up, and what this does mean, of course, is that if the Ivory Coast miss this one, Matt, Egypt are the African champions. Decisive penalty. And the pressure now on the Ivory Coast is absolutely awesome. It's Emmanuel Mboué, the young Arsenal defender, must score this penalty to keep his side in the final. Mboué, credit to the young man. He scores only the second Ivorian out of 4 to find the target. So it is 3-2, but what it does mean is that if this penalty goes in, Matthew, and it's Abu Treka to take it, Egypt will be lifting the cup.
Yeah, Mboué has done his job. He's given Jean-Jacques Tizier a few words of encouragement, but one of the up-and-coming stars of Egyptian football, Mohamed Abu Treka, has the chance to win the cup here for Egypt.
Well, he's a good man for the job, I'd say, and he's done it. Egypt, for the 5th time, are African champions. Abu Treka, with the cool head in front of President Hosni Mubarak, and 74,000 ecstatic Egyptian fans. Once more, it's a shootout to decide the trophy. And once more, Matthew, Egypt are the champions of the continent. And there's the trophy. And it will be Hossam Hassan.
Wonderful scenes. Egypt, top of African football once again.